Hello, welcome. My name is Nancy Penchev, and my presentation today. Sorry, I got to take off my glasses so I can see. I'm at that age, where you can see and you can't see. So, my presentation today, you can find it at nancypenchev.com. All my resources will be there. You click on 2024 Canva for Librarians, and here we go. I'm going to talk today about creating visual summaries. Now, I teach um, all of our students, third through fifth grade, twice a week. Kindergarten, first, and second grade come in 8-week units. And I love seeing what my kids have learned. I love listening to them and reading their work. But I keep telling them, I love you, but I can't read 5-paragraph essays from everybody. Please don't do this to me. I have some that will, no matter what, write a 5-paragraph essay, but I would love for them to try to do it a little simpler. I would love to see a visual summary. Uses a different side of their brain than writing. So Canva is one of the ways that we do that. So I'm going to show you some of our resources, some of the things that the kids have made, and give you ideas. And I hope that you will share with me some of the things that you have come up with after watching this. You can get in touch with me at my name, Nancy Penchev, at gmail.com. And again, I'll put all of that here too, so you can get back in touch with me and share some of the things that your students have made. Canva is one of the best things that I have found that encourages students to create, to showcase what they know. But it's also a great way to put limits on them, to say, hey, no, you can't use paragraph. You can't use a sentence. You have to use words. No, sorry, you have to use pictures instead of words. So I'm going to show you some of the things in my design STEM class that we have created using Canva that uses some visual summaries. We do a lot of reading within our STEM units. We read in every single thing. When fifth grade is learning about ecosystems, they have to read about it. When third grade is learning about motion and force and magnets, they have to read about it. We are very much interweaving everything that we do into our lessons. So Canva is a great way to do that. So hold on just a minute. Let me get to the right page. Here we go. So this is one of the ways that students are using Canva to showcase their learning. And again, at first they were writing multiple pages to explain to me what Genius Hour is and what the options were that they had. And I'm like, no, because we're creating this to go on a trifold board for our presentation day. And people are not going to stop and read everything you have to say. So make it short and sweet. And a lot of these, you will probably see some spelling mistakes because I'm not concerned about that right now. This is their first draft. They send it to me. We talk about it. They edit it together, and then they will correct things. But I'm not concerned with spelling. But one of the things I am concerned with is, can I read what you've written? Is the font you're using too old for me? Because, I'm an old person. I can't read all the fancy fonts, and I can't see it when it's a light font on a light background. I can't see. So you can see that this person put the white behind it because that was a feedback that they got from me was, I can't read this. I can't read this. So they're like, but I can't, but you're not the old person. I'm the old person. So they had to go in and make sure that I could read it, that it's understandable, that it's easy to read. The font is easy being the key thing. Okay. So this was the 4 parts of what our Genius Hour is and what they could choose as part of a bigger presentation, but this was a small part. I don't want to read a 5-paragraph essay about this. Bring it to me as easy as possible. Okay. One of the lessons that we learned early on in 5th grade is Creative Commons. And what does that mean? And how is that applied to what you're doing? You can't just take a picture off the internet and throw it on your project, because then you're saying it's yours. So with Canva, we were able to create a presentation. And again, I don't want everything. Make it easy to understand. So here easy to understand how to use Creative Commons. Okay, how to search using Creative Commons. Some examples of Creative Commons. Okay, they got to pick their own topic. This one chose flowers. Some of them chose space. Some of them chose their favorite game. But they had to explain what Creative Commons is. They had to explain how you do it. And then to show some examples. Easy, to the point. I can see right away if they understood, if they were able to use what they learned, if they're able to share what they learned with others. And that was the basics. Again, this is one of the very first lessons that we learn. It's also one of the easy ways to get used to using Canva because it's low risk, because nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody's an expert at it. We're all figuring it out together. Now, normally I say, hey, guys, use whatever Canva has in it because that way you know it's Creative Commons. But because this was a specific lesson on how do we use Creative Commons, we went outside of Canva to find the picture. So that's a whole nother lesson of how do we bring pictures in from outside? How can we edit them to make sure that they fit? How do we credit where we got them? So there we go. And again, we had so many different ones that students decided to do their project on because I don't care what the pictures are. I just need to know that you understood my lesson. So this was a easy way that they could, not a paper pencil test, show me how that they understood my lesson. Alrighty. Okay, so this was an article that students had to read. They had like 5 or 6 different articles to choose from, and it was all about environmental impacts. And then they had to show me what they learned from the reading in a visual form. So this young lady read an article about trees and what you need to do in order to save our world. And so this is her summary. And I didn't teach her to do this, but when you're looking at it and you see the lines of the trees leading to the words, that is a design aspect. Well, I did kind of taught that part where we looked at lines and visual graphic designs and advertising, but I didn't specifically say to her, hey, look at this picture. So that was a lesson that had taken place a few weeks before. So she used that. Now, could we get picky and say, hey, your words should be inside the circle? Of course, but this is a 5th grader. And the fact that she remembered and she was able to use some design principles to showcase what she learned within the first few weeks of school, I was very happy to get this one too. I think it's an amazing example of visual learning. Let me come back to that one. Give me just a second here. Okay, so here's another example of students taking a whole unit of study and creating something to show what they've learned. So our unit of study, this is actually from a 3rd grader, and we had learned how to take care of our Chromebooks, what we could do and what we could not do with our Chromebooks. So then they had to create something that a teacher could print out and use in their classroom. So take a look at these graphics. How amazing is that they were able to put together a splash on top of the computer screen and then be happy? I like that too. But that was amazing. Again, I didn't teach her that. That was something that she was looking forward to try to make to show what she had learned about what would happen if you were drinking beside the computer, what would happen if you were eating beside the computer. And she came up with that. I thought that was pretty amazing. I love the way that flows literally and figuratively all together. So that was pretty amazing. Let's see. This is an ecosystem project. Again, this was an article that they read about reintroducing wolves into national parks and what happens when you take animals out of an environment and then put them back into the environment, what goes on with the ecosystem. So let me move my face right there so you can see a little better. So you can see that his article talked about lumberjacks. It talked about Alaska. It talked about the wolves being killed by habitat loss. So he's putting together what he read in a visual format. So again, amazing way to give me an understanding of what they understood. And if you're having kids do book reports instead of writing about it, create a graphic that shows it. You could even have them set up like a guessing game where somebody creates the graphic using very few words to explain the plot or the problem or the solution in a book. And then kids have to read the books and figure out which one it's talking about. And I could do that. I could, read the book and I could make them and put up a bulletin board. But isn't it so much better to have the students become more active and get involved in creating and sharing with each other? So love that one as well. This was actually a speech that was given by a student last year. I teach a Keystone class. Keystone is our gifted and talented push class for students who score 90% or above on their testing, on their MAP testing. They get to come and hang out with me for a little while during the week, and we do a TED Ed program. So this young lady thought she saw a incident where we live in Miami, and so the roads are congested all the time, and the emergency vehicle got stuck behind the cars and could not get to where it needed to be. And she was like, hey, if that was my grandmother they were going to, how would I feel? So she made this slideshow. This is a slideshow I downloaded as PDF, but this is a slideshow, and you can see that she doesn't use every word that she's saying in her speech during the slides. She used the pictures to illustrate, and then she was able to talk about her idea. So her idea is actually that because we have so many roads here in South Florida, we could close some of them that are all going to the same place. We could close one to other traffic and just use it for emergency vehicles. And I was like, that's a pretty good idea. So she had all of these different ideas that she was sharing. And again, every word that she's saying is not on the screen, because one of the lessons that we learned is if you have all the words on the screen, they're going to be reading the screen and not listening to you. So she took that into consideration when she was making her slides, and just did an amazing job with that. Again, very impressed. I feel like they take things that I teach them and go way beyond wherever I had intended. Okay, so again, this is another speech that a student was giving. She was teaching her class about polar ecosystems. In fifth grade, one of our units is ecosystems, and so the students select an ecosystem they want to learn more about. I teach them the basics of ecosystems, and then they dive in and learn more and then teach others. So this is her presentation. And again, you will notice that it doesn't have a lot of words, that the pictures are what carries her meaning for what she's saying. So this is the food web that she made. This is where she got her information. This is a reference slide. They have to talk about the dangers and threats to the ecosystem. Again, she doesn't write it all out here, but she explains it in her speech, what she's saying. Human interactions, weather and temperature information, locations and map, some of the animals from that ecosystem, the plants, how that ecosystem is different or the same as other ecosystems that other people are doing, and then her thank you. Again, you can understand everything this student wanted to say and what she was trying to implore and teach by the use of pictures. So here's another one. This is another article. The article was called Filtering Water in Israel. And so this is what that student created to show what they had learned. Now, again, this is what's on the screen. He has very few words. But by looking at the pictures and reading his very few words, I was able to figure out what the article was about. I can also use this to then ask him more. Explain to me how why doing it a second time is so important. How does it make it safe to be cleaned a second time? Why is it safe to drink Fenton? Why do you have to do it again? So it lets me ask questions. It lets us have a discussion because he hasn't thrown everything out that he has learned. He's given me pictures to go along with it. And then if I need more information, I can go ask it. And that's one of the things too that you have to look at. If you've pre-read everything that the students are reading, then you're going to know if what they post is the gist of the information. If he just put a bunch of pictures and he didn't have that small amount of words there, I might still go, I wonder what the main idea was. But because he's posted his little bit of information, and then each one of those pictures has something to do with what he's talking about, that helps me. And it helps me lead a discussion with them if I need to know more. Here's another article. My face is getting in the way. This article is about sea otters and hunting and the problems with that and what we need to do about it. So one of the things that we've talked about in class is using images that will grab attention. And sometimes color does that. And sometimes it's the content of the picture itself. So this student chose the orange hunters because that brings your eye straight to them because it's different colors. It's not a color that you see anywhere else. And then the picture with the otters is one that people look at and go, so it tugs at your heart. And then you're like, but wait, why are they killing otters? I don't know anybody that wears wears fur for the otters. Now, if I lived in Alaska, I watch a lot of those Alaska shows. So if I lived in Alaska, I might need that fur. That would be a different thing if I was killing it for myself and I was using the meat and I was using the fur. But if people are just going hunting for sports, and so that leads to a whole nother discussion, which this student actually took home very well because it did lead them to research more and to learn more and find out why. Why are they hunting this? What are they using it for? Is it for sport or is it for need? That was not an intention that I had by providing that article as one of the choices, but it's something that it led to. And anytime I can help a kid find something that they're passionate about and that they want to raise their voice and use their voice to bring attention to, that makes it even better. Sometimes the best learning is the kind that are unintentional. This is a presentation that our Lego robotics team presented last year. We participated in an event that the theme was about energy. So we had to figure out a way to solve a problem in the world. And we did some research and we went to our the money people at our school, for lack of a better way to say it. We talked to the money people and we said, hey, how much money are we spending on power? And our school is a pretty large school. We house ECE through 12th grade. And so our power bill is over $20,000 a month. And so that's a lot of money. So the students were like, well, is there nothing else we could do? We live in Florida. Could we not put solar panels? Well, most of our buildings, with the exception of one, most of our buildings are very old. And so once we found out how much the solar panels weigh, we realized that's probably not going to be an option. But they did find some options that you can put over cars. I'm like, hey, that's even better. I can park underneath that, keep my car cooler. But as the research happened for this, they found a way that we could use these new panels that were coming out. These were some of the other ideas that they found, but Pavagen panels is what they went with. And a Pavagen panel, you put it on the ground, and as people walk over it, the Pavagen panels kind of take the movements and turn those into electricity. We found that they've used them in Dubai in the airport there. So we contacted our chief academic officer and our head of curriculum for lower school and shared the idea, and they liked the idea. They thought we could save a lot of money. So we need to know what what's required for pathogen panels to put into our school. How could we do that? Now they're still on like a Kickstarter thing right now, but we did reach out and they answered our questions and they were very nice about it. So here are kind of what the pathogen panels look like. And the students were like, hey, if we put them on the basketball court and on the playground area, and that's in a very high trafficked area. So not only are people playing there, but the middle school and high school walk across that area to come to cafeteria every day. And anybody walking to the other side of campus has to cross that area. Like, that's a great place that we could get a lot of movement. So they thought that would be a great place to put it. This is in the airport example that where they're already using it and how much they were able to save it with electricity. So we presented that idea, and the people at the robotics convention were very excited about that, and our school was very excited. Hasn't happened yet. Again, still in Kickstarter area, not quite ready for a focus. Now this one is amazing. So this is a Who Am I? Now, this one happens to be one of the teachers at our school. And every picture that you see here leads to something about this person. Now, that is her when she was a child in Morocco. I knew who it was right away because I had already used this picture in a Who Am I? Who's That Kid game show that we hosted during COVID. But each one of the things, from the Polaroid camera to the phonograph to the tape and the radio up at the top, and even the arms, are all clues for students about who this person is. So imagine that you assign students to create a Who Am I poster for a character in their book. Instead of writing about the character and the different things that happen to the character, they create the character in Canva using images. You learn about their life. They can do a life cycle. They could do a timeline of the life of that character from the book using just the images, the elements in Canva. I love that. This is not one of my assignments. It was made for something else, but I loved it. So I'm like, hey, can I use that? I thought it was pretty amazing. And so this is Who Am I is a great introduction to Canva the first time students use it as well, that they can learn how to take a picture of themselves and insert a picture of themselves and insert the different things about themselves. And again, if you're using baby pictures, it becomes a guessing game that you can put out on your bulletin board for a while. Have every class make it, and every few weeks change out the pictures and see if the kids can guess. And then you have your bulletin board for the whole school year. What a great idea. So love that one. You can also do what time period is this? If you're teaching social studies, or if you're having students read nonfiction books about a certain type of science, then they are using those images to teach people about that science or that time period or that genre of music. If you're doing it in music, so it's amazing. Artists, anything, just a great idea. If they're reading the Who Was books, then they can make their own Who Was poster that goes along with the book. They can make their own cover for books. They show what they've learned about the book. They can, instead of writing a summary, they make a Canva image that shows what happens in the book and recommend the book to others using those images. So here is a Who Eats What. In fifth grade, again, a big thing that we learned about are food chains and food webs and what's the difference between a chain and a web. So one of the students had read the article about ocean animals and who eats what in the ocean. So they made this set of posters. Okay. So that was a shark and a marlin, and then the marlin's eating the squid, and then the squid eat fish. And then you could also have a person eating a fish or anything else. But this was a chain versus a web. So we've seen a web where it interchanges, it goes lots of arrows to different places. This was simply a chain. The next one that they made that's not in here was the web, where it has lots more animals. So that shows me that they understood the difference between a web and a chain. Here's Williams Oceans. This is his presentation about what he learned about oceans. So here are some animals and plants. Again, he has a lot of words here, but he also has the pictures to go along with it, and it's not sentence form. So here's web. There's more than one arrow. There's more than one chain. Here's the temperature, the dangers, the locations, the compare and contrast, humans in that area, and references. And again, there's misspellings. And I don't care. I told them I'm not their spelling teacher. I would like for them to make changes, and I will highlight things for them. But if that's what they leave it as, I'm not grading them for that. I'm not grading them based on their spelling. So the last one I wanted to show you is a template that I give them. And it's, again, 5th grade, and we're learning about water and layers of the earth. So I provide for them a few different videos and some reading, and they have to explain to me the layers of the earth. And I give them 4 layers that I need them to know about. So I put the title in: geosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, and biosphere. Now that picture, somebody was using mine instead of making their own copy, because it's usually not, the pictures are not there. And the only picture that's there is this one. And then it's up to them. And they work on this in a group, because would it be easier to do it on your own? Yeah, could be. But then where's the conversation? Where's the sharing of your learning? So I force them to talk. Oh my gosh. I make them talk to each other. And sometimes they're like silent. And I'm like, no, I ask you to talk. Please talk. So this is one example of the layers of the earth. So these are 4 students who work together. And again, I told them I'm not reading. Now, did some of them give me paragraphs? Yeah. But one of the reasons I tell them they can't give me paragraphs is because they can copy and paste information, and they can tell me all day long, I didn't copy and paste it, but I know that what you sound like, and that does not sound like you. And sometimes when you copy and paste, there's a background on the words. They can't figure out how I figured it out. So if you're using 3 to 4 words to explain, there's no way you copy and pasted that. Could you have read and just picked out those words? Sure. But if it doesn't make sense, you're going to get credit? No, I'm going to send it back to you. So here's geosphere, hydrosphere, a little more words, atmosphere, and biosphere. Now, some of them use the Greek word because that was very big in some of the videos that they watched. And then they added some more pictures at the bottom. They didn't have to keep the picture I used. This group didn't, and that's fine. So after they watched it, they then each took on one part of the layers that they would then work together on the same document at the same time, which is a whole nother level of cooperative learning, because they don't like it when somebody else is typing where they're supposed to type. That's why I made the infographic for them to just fill in, so that they weren't making a slideshow, that they weren't making posters. I wanted them working on the same thing because I wanted them to have that conversation. If one person is using yellow font on this background, we're not going to be able to see it. So they were able to talk to each other and work each other's way through it. So here's another one. Now, this is a student who was absent, so he did it by himself. And that's fine. Sometimes that has to happen. So you can see that he, again, just the facts. Now, could he have copied that sentence there? Could have, but it sounds like him. So, sometimes we let it go. And especially since he wasn't there in person the day that we did it. So, using Canva, to encourage students to show what they know. One of my biggest things, the one thing that I try to impress upon my students at all time, is to show me what you have been working on. Show me what you have learned. I do not give very many tests. In fifth grade is the only time I give a test, and I only give two. And the reason I give them is because when they get to sixth grade in middle school, they have to start taking tests in their science class. And mine's a STEM class. In middle school, they break it up between STEM and science. So they're still making things in STEM, and in science, they do the science stuff. So at the end of the year, I do give a couple of tests for them to get used to that kind of testing where you're labeling and you're listing um, and you are filling in the blanks and the different ways that real testing happens. But most of the time, we do project-based stuff. So I want them to be able to share what they've learned. They do a lot of presentations. Sometimes they record it on Flipgrid just for me. Sometimes they will record it on Flipgrid and I'll share it with the rest of the class. We'll watch it together and they each grade each other. And then sometimes they stand up and present. I try to give everybody whatever they're needing, and Canva's a great way. If they need, I have some students who need to write more. They just cannot give me a few words. They need to write sentences and they need their capital letters and their punctuation. They are very particular about that. And if they absolutely have to, okay, you can do that. But what I would like is for you to use that other side of your brain to show pictures, very few words, because they have plenty of other times that they can write. So I hope that you were able to get something out of this today. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that you come up with ideas and that you email me some of the ideas that you have so I can, steal from you. I'm happy to share and happy to take from you as well. Another thing I want you to look at is I have an EdTech blog here. Every month I post things, sometimes more than 1 month if something has come up. If I'm at a conference, I post at least once a month with updates about what I've saw that's really cool online. Sometimes it has to do with Canva, where people have put out information about creating things on Canva. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. So I collect them for myself and then I publish it, because why just do it for myself? If you are a STEM person, if you do Maker within your library, check out this tab here. I do a ton of STEM stuff. So I have a Women's History Month site that I made. It has a woman for every day of the week during, what is it, March, I think. So you can check that out. These are some STEM and literacy things that I have made. If you click on the Padlet right over here to make it a full screen for you. But there are different activities with books to do with it. You can read the book, do the activities. And again, I would love for you to give me some ideas that you've come up with as well. This is a STEM storytelling. I have a presentation on this at ISTE and a few other places. So, and there's also some recorded presentations that I've done. And these are just things I've done with students that I love and that you can take and use however you would like. So the books are there. This is a local Birds of South Florida mat that we take outside and we see if we can find anything. And then some at-home activities that you could send home with the kids too to do. So there's a bunch of books here and I keep adding to it all the time. Usually I have the book read aloud, so that I can have that playing, because I teach a STEM storytelling class after school as well. So I turn on the book for them to watch it while I'm gathering all the stuff for us to do the activities. So there's a bunch of books there. Some of them are the same here and some are different. So there's that. And then during COVID, I started reading books to my 4-year-olds at my school and to my cousins. And so you can click on the book, on the title, and it will take you to a little slideshow with either a video of me reading the book or somebody reading the book and some activities that you can do with them. Giraffes Can't Dance is my mom's favorite book. And so every baby that's born into my family, as soon as we find out that we're having a baby, they get the book and a little giraffe. And then they get different books for every birthday and holidays in between then too. So there's a bunch of these. The What If You Had Animal collection, there's some ideas for all of those as well, different activities to do with them. EPEC Architect, one of my favorites. Ada Twist Scientist, Rosie Revere. And that's been there forever saying that I'm coming soon. But every time I buy the book, I end up giving it away. And so I never have managed to finish that for whatever reason. Um, so you can also go through any of my other presentations at any other place that you can find here. And anything you see, feel free to take and use it into your classroom as well. I don't want to make something for it just to sit there forever. I would love for you to take what I have and share it. So that's me. I'm Fancy Nancy. I have a theory that Fancy Nancy grows up to be Miss Frizzle. So those are my two main costumes that I wear at school are Fancy Nancy and Miss Frizzle. And again, please let me know if I can help you in any way. If you're like, hey, I wish that we could come up with an idea for this, let me know. I'm glad to help you. Here's my contact information through email, through Twitter. I'm glad to help you out. And one of my other passions is getting teachers, librarians, classroom teachers, music teachers, getting teachers, whoever you are, to get out into the world and look and find all the amazing opportunities that are available to you. In 2022, I did a Fulbright Distinguished Awards and Teaching program. Went to Vietnam for 3 months. It was phenomenal. Best thing I've ever done. It was crazy good. And through that, now I'm doing all kind of other things with Fulbright and writing grants with them and getting to go places and go to conferences and present for them and try to get teachers to look at the programs that they have available. There are so many things out there that are available for teachers. And the sad thing is a lot of teachers don't know. So if you would like to know more, email me. I'll send you some links to some things that you could look for and look at to do. And if you're ever at a conference and I'm there, please come by and say hello. I'd love to chat with you and share more ideas together. All right. Thank you very much. And good luck, everybody. Have a great year or summer. It's almost summertime. Whew, I keep forgetting. Have a great time. Bye.